We're live. I should say we're live on the Tuesday night, but it's not Tuesday night anymore. It's already Wednesday morning, so we're live on a Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning. It is 12:09 a.m. and normally I aim to have these earlier, by 10 p.m. Recently I've been kind of on top of it more, doing these a little bit earlier, but tonight I had a homework assignment due and I was kind of late. Finally did it. Hey everybody. So we're streaming to Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, and tonight we don't have a guest because we've had guests the past couple times and I know you guys love them. I just wanted to get some just alone time with me and my viewers. And already getting comments on my eyes, people saying I look tired. Anyway, shout out to Wedgie Nerd. Shout out to Wedgie Nerd. So, this is not beer. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about mainstream media as it relates to the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, because we've all been talking about it a lot. Why did ABC News nix the Jeffrey Epstein story 3 years ago, or allegedly nix it, and then why are they so focused on trying to find out, who the leaker was that shared audio of Amy Robach talking about it? It's still a news story, and we're still talking about it, and we're still gonna talk about it because we still don't know who the actual whistleblower was who leaked audio of Amy Robach. I don't know if you guys watched it. I feel like everybody watched it already. So, but we're still talking about it. And they already fired this girl, Ashley Bianco, with claims that she they fired her for allegedly, maybe leaking the story to Project Veritas, and then she was like, well, I didn't do it. She went on Megyn Kelly's YouTube show, and she's like, well, I didn't do it. And so they're like, oh, well, we fired her because she had access to those clips. So it's just another cover-up after cover-up. By the way, I'm just going to point out that Megyn Kelly has a YouTube show. In case you didn't notice, this was actually her debut on her YouTube show. She's not at NBC News anymore, and we all thought that she would try and go back to Fox, working for Fox. But people are making comments about Jeffrey Epstein. I just thought that it would look really nice if he was sitting next to me, like, hello, it's like a nice decoration. I feel like Jeffrey Epstein is he's like a household name now, right? He should have his own stamp. Just stamp him on everything. With Harvard, it's like the perfect stamp. So the whole moral of the Jeffrey Epstein story, and the whole moral of every single news story that you've been seeing coming out the past week, and the week before that, and the week before that, the moral of every story that you've been seeing for the past few months has been trad media is garbage, and it's getting harder and harder to trust the mainstream media with anything. And I'm not saying this I'm not like, oh, the mainstream media as in, left wing or right wing. I'm saying the mainstream media as in all mainstream media. It's all just such trash. Media outlets are trash now, unless you are an independent journalist going and looking for your own clues and trying to find your own thing, and you're not necessarily going to be able to trust other independent journalists because everybody's got their own motives, but you can't trust trad media anymore the way that you were able to in the past. Media outlets are having less and less power. They're losing a lot of power to they're losing a lot of power to like independent bloggers and journalists and YouTube people because because they're not needed anymore. So they're losing more power, and then now it's just it's only a matter of time before they all die. And in the meantime, they're gonna try and do whatever they can to try and push everybody else down before they die out. Someone is saying I should work for the New York Times. So people thought that Megyn Kelly would try and go and back at working for Fox after she left NBC for her stupid, like, the blackface comment, which she wasn't even promoting blackface, but whatever. People thought that she would go back to Fox, and she didn't, and she started her own YouTube show, and everyone's like, oh, that's so sad, she's starting her own YouTube show, that's a poor thing. But I don't think it's a poor thing. I think that trad media is a sinking ship. And there's a reason why I'm here on my own YouTube thing instead of going and continuing to work for trad media. There's a reason why I'm here and not there. And the reason for that is not that I can't find a job with traditional media. It's that there's a downside, and you're always beholden to, there's a huge downside to working for any sort of like established media. And that's, you don't have freedom. It's really hard to say whatever you want to say, do what you want to do, and even like just communicate with who you want to talk to and how you want to. It just keeps getting worse and worse and I think that's a big reason why trad media has become garbage. Someone is saying that Megyn would be running back to Fox if they had called her. Maybe, but but like if they called her, then they wouldn't be who they are. You know what I mean? Like if the whole thing about traditional media now, and it's getting more and more like this, is that they have become like their own PR companies. Traditional media has over time become less focused on actual news stories and more focused on their own image. I don't know how it is at other media outlets. I'm sure it's like this, but I know at the network that I worked at, there was a blacklist, just a list of people that we wouldn't have on, and it's usually people that you don't want to be associated with. You don't want to have on your network because you don't want it to look bad. And every year it just keeps getting worse, where there's like every year it just keeps getting worse, where media outlets are becoming more and more conscious that blacklist keeps growing longer and longer because there's another white nationalist or another crazy person or another person that we don't want to be associated with. I don't know why I still have this picture of Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know why I have this picture. Delete it. Every year it just keeps getting worse, and when you have and if you live in Washington D.C., you know what I mean. If you are working in media or you're working in political circles, you see what it's like. It's just people are just so obsessed, and I complain about this all the time, but it's true. Like it's real. People are just so obsessed with their own image. They're freaking obsessed with who they're seen talking to. Like it's just like a whole huge PR game, and everybody knows that like everybody knows that Megyn Kelly, for instance, is not like a racist, and she doesn't, you know, enjoy blackface, the idea of blackface. And even if she did, she wouldn't go and say it on air. You know what I mean? But she failed the PR game, so she's out. She's out. She failed the media PR game. You know, like, for instance, this past week, Donald Trump Jr. was at this event. It was like a Turning Point USA event. He was talking to a group of people. It was like him, Kimberly Guilfoyle, and Charlie Kirk. It was at UCLA. He was talking about his book. He has a book called Triggered, and it's about the left and whatever. It was about, he was talking about how someone asked him a question. It was someone from some very, very right-wing, like, Groypers. I don't know, you guys know about the Groyper wars. I'm not going to talk about the Groypers so much because, like, I don't want to get in trouble. And I don't want to be disingenuous, like the people I'm talking about. I don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to be associated with those people, you know, those are bad, you know, those are gross, whatever. I'm not going to say it like that. I'm just going to say, I just don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to lose my thing. I don't want to lose my channel. But I'm not going to go out and be like, yeah, this person is a racist, and that person is a racist, and this person is a heaping pile of garbage, and that person deserves to be, like, you know, killed in their sleep, and that person, like, I'm not going to do that. So anyway, a group of these kids, I don't know what they're, you know, a group of these kids went up and asked Trump Jr. like questions, and he was like, and it was a Q&A, and he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't want to talk about it. And then it became like a whole thing, and then they booed him off stage. And then it became a whole news story, and everyone, you know, CNN and Daily Beast and all these news outlets were like, oh, haha, look at that, Don Jr.'s getting booed by his own side, or Don Jr.'s getting booed by Trump supporters, because, you know, he's, whatever, and he's talking about being, you know, triggered and not censoring people. So, like, my problem isn't even that he, like, shut people down. My problem is that he's playing just like everybody else. He's playing into this PR game. It's all about this, like, how do we look in front of the public? It's all about being part of the cool kids club. Like, I could right now come out and say, well, I don't care about what anybody thinks about me. And this is actually my goal. Like, this is literally my goal in life, is to just really, really not be powered in any way, or not rely in any way on any sort of people in DC or media outlets, and just totally, totally not rely on anyone, and be able to just ask, and be able to just interview and talk to whoever I want to talk to for whatever information I want to talk to, because that's real journalism. Real journalism is just being able to ask questions, any kind of questions from any kind of sources, focusing on what the information is, what kind of information you're getting. Not, oh, who's this person and who's that person. You're focused on understanding and knowing, and not, oh, well, you know, who am I going to be seen talking to next? So that's real journalism. We don't really have that so much anymore. It's really hard to find that, because journalists now and media companies now are so obsessed. I mean, you know, they have their own PR teams. They all have their own PR teams. It's crazy. Why should a news outlet oh, shoot. Can you guys see this? Why is everyone talking about Nick Fuentes? Someone is asking if I would take a real live NAZI in my thing. And I'm not saying the word because I don't want to get in trouble. So someone is saying if I would take a real live NAZI on my live stream. I mean, honestly, I would take anybody. I would take anybody on it. I would want, it literally, and someone, you're saying you're joking. I'm not joking. I'm serious. I would take anybody on my live stream. Would I take a serial killer on my live stream? Yeah, I mean, if they're not in jail and I still have access to that person and it's safe, I had a security guard or something, like, yeah, I would totally have on my live stream. Would I have a crazy person on my live stream? Totally. I would have anybody on my live stream. And it doesn't mean that I condone what they're saying. Like, I have friends who are mortal enemies. And actually, all of my friends are just so different, and they're all just have so many friends who, like, legit hate each other. And, doesn't mean that I agree. It would be impossible for me to agree with everything my friends said and did. They literally have opposite. They literally want to kill each other. How would I agree with everything all my friends said and did if they literally want to kill each other? That wouldn't even make sense. But my goal is to be able to get to that point where I can just, like, interview whoever I wanted to get whatever information I wanted, and just not worry about, like, oh no, people will stop talking to me if that happens, and then I might lose my job, and then I might lose a source. Hey Joe, thanks for joining us. I know you're about to start your night shift. So I feel, like, honored. It's cool. Someone says I look to the left when thinking. So I see that someone in the comments is saying that they're not a fan of. Oh, my neck is hurting. It's all that handstands I did last week in my class. Someone is saying that they're not a fan of guests. My back is hurting. All right. Okay, so I did a poll on Twitter asking people if they'd rather I brought guests or did these by myself. And most of you responded that you'd rather that I did these by myself and not have any guests. And I really appreciated that. That made me so happy. Like, that was really nice. Also, though, however, when I enjoy having guests. When I have guests, I feel like it's a way to just see something else, like something different. I feel like you guys get bored when it's just me. And also, it's a way to promote this, 1 second. All right. Also, it's a way to promote my live streams because, like, my guests are so different. They're like, they bring, like, I get to have, like, special information on my live streams. My guests are really different, so they share my stuff and they're cool and interesting. And I feel like, and down the line, I feel like from my interviews with people, because people are comfortable with me and they share a lot, I'm more likely to have, like, good information that could be used later, that is, in just interesting stories. Someone is saying that I should bring Nick Fuentes on and tell him he's a loser. And then someone is saying the opposite. Okay. All right. Why is everyone talking about Nick Fuentes in my comments? All right. So I would really have anyone on my live stream, you know, and I always get people telling me, like, don't bring this person on, don't bring that person on. And they're right. Like, you know, I get in trouble when I bring different people on, but I'm starting to get to a point where I'm thinking that maybe if I just bring everybody on, then it won't matter. Because, like, there are very few, but there are people out there who interview, like, everybody, and they don't seem to care about what anybody thinks, and it's actually really working out well for them. Like, Joe Rogan is one of those people. Joe Rogan is someone that I really look up to. And I wouldn't even say that he's perfectly like that, because he's not. Nobody perfectly doesn't care what anybody thinks. Everybody cares what people think. But Joe Rogan is an example of someone who's been a little bit better than other people. He brings on so many different types of people on his shows, so many wacky and interesting and whatever types of people, and people that maybe other journalists or interviewers might feel kind of iffy about having on. And then there's, like, Yashar Ali. Yashar Ali is, he's a journalist. Yashar Ali is definitely a journalist. He's a Twitter person, and he's got his own blog now, and he talks to everybody, and I think he gets a lot of good information that way. Prodigal says, who cares? It's your live stream. Thank you. Yes, it is my live stream. Interesting. Yeah. I talked to what's her name? Tara La Rosa today. Tara La Rosa. She's an MMA fighter who was caught on video. There was, like, this Antifa lady who was, like, attacking somebody at a rally in Portland, and she was, like, you know, pinning that person to the ground, and it was like there was a whole video, it was viral. And so I talked to her today, and she actually agreed to come on this live stream, but it will be a while until I get her. That would be really exciting. Someone is saying that they'd love to see Joe Rogan host a presidential debate. I would love to see it too. I think that the future is Joe Rogan. The future is, I think Megyn Kelly did a great job by making her show on YouTube. You know, right now it might seem, like, lame and, like, oh, YouTube, little YouTube, but it's not, you know, and maybe not YouTube, but any online platform. Like, mainstream media is dying out, and it is really a cool kids club, and it's getting harder and harder to report anything factual or interesting or original, because there's so much at stake. You have to jump through so many hoops to make sure that the overlords are okay with your story, and not even to make sure that your story is credible, just to make sure that it doesn't look bad on your company that you're publishing a story, or that you're not, you know, losing, you know, the favor of this group or that group by covering a story. Prodigal says I should interview Morgan Freeman being Jimi Hendrix. All right, you call Morgan Freeman and tell him. Thanks, Prodigal. Call Morgan Freeman and tell him that I'm gonna interview him. My back is killing. I've been doing, like, gymnastics. Like, I started doing gymnastics, and it's like the pole dancing class that I told you guys about, but it's not just pole dancing. It's like, you know, the aerial silks and these hoops, and they also got all these, like, the most recent thing is I've been trying to learn how to do a handstand, and my whole body is aching. Like, muscle and like my neck muscles especially, like this, just every muscle is just like killing because I have never done a handstand in my life, and for the first time I'm like trying to figure out how to do it. It's like really it really hurts. Someone is saying not transsexuals. Actually, I definitely want to have a trans person on my live stream, cause like I had a vlog, I had you guys saw Nikki on my vlog. I did a vlog about when I got a haircut on Pride Day, like during Pride Parade Day weekend, Pride weekend, and I got a haircut, and the person who did my haircut was a trans person whose name was Nikki, and that was really interesting. And Nikki told me the whole story of like I don't even know if you got if it ended up all being recorded on the vlog, but Nikki's story was very interesting. Maybe I'll ask Nikki to come on and say her whole story, or his whole story. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. Logo says, how many people even care about politics or culture enough to notice how constrained the margin of allowable discourse is? So I see what you're saying. Like, nobody cares. Why no one cares about this anyway. Why would you, like, who cares? It's just DC. Only people in DC cares. Nobody else cares. And stop worrying about it because nobody else cares. The rest of America doesn't care. Thank you, Garvery. Lose the fear. Just be you. Which I really agree with. I really 100% agree with. And that's actually the motto by which I plan to continue doing what I do. At the same time, though, like, there is a reason why people care, and it's not just because there is a reason why they care, and it's not just because the mainstream media is a cool kids club. It's because the cool kids club is also running everything. Like, the cool kids club can decide if you're gonna get fired from your job, and if you're gonna have access to any of the sources that you want access to. The Cool Kids Club was gonna decide, how you're gonna be depicted in the media, and that will decide how a lot of people will choose to do business with you. Will people want to advertise with you? Will people want to do business with you? Will they want to partner with you, talk to you? Like, the cool kids will decide if you are going to be allowed into certain social events or social circles, or if, it's too controversial for people to follow you on social media. So it's kind of scary when the Cool Kids Club is running everything, and they definitely are running things in DC. I guess the question is, are we gonna how much can you survive outside of the Cool Kids Club? I think that you can very easily, but you'd have to just, if you're in DC, you'd have to figure out a way to just get away from it and figure out your own, create your own. Lewis says, check your DMs. Just sent you something you're gonna enjoy. Okay, I'm gonna check my DMs. All right. Someone is saying I look like Seinfeld. Everyone check out, everybody go online, go on YouTube and Google Pardes looks like Jerry Seinfeld and watch this video, watch the song video. It's really funny. Alright. Yeah, I look like Jerry Seinfeld now because I look tired and I'm not wearing makeup. Hey Dan. Diacritical. Yes, it is a very funny video. It's a very funny video. Alright. So, in case you haven't watched it, I want you guys to see a little bit about the Jeffrey Epstein, I want you to see a little bit of Megyn Kelly's interview with Ashley Bianca. So, just in case you don't know what's going on. ABC News 3 years ago. So recently, this woman, Amy Robach, who was an ABC News anchor, she was like caught on a hot mic, was leaked to Project Veritas. She was saying that she had the story of Jeffrey Epstein 3 years ago, and she could have, she had all the information. They could have released it. They could have talked about it, published it, but then the network nixed the story because they were getting threats from the British royal family because, Prince Andrew was one of the people who was on Jeffrey Epstein's island, and he was one of the people who had, was with one of Epstein's sex slaves. So if they ran the story, then they might lose access. If ABC ran the story, they might lose access to the royal family, and they might not be able to get interviews with Kate and William. So they literally just just to not lose favor for, Kate and William with Kate and William, they nixed like a huge story that could have saved so many girls from being sexually abused, or it could have at least brought justice for them. So all right. Anyway, I'm reading your comments. So they nixed that story. Apparently they nixed that story. That comes out on the hot mic. Project Veritas leaks it. It becomes a whole controversy. And ABC News, instead of talking more about the Epstein story, instead of talking more about, what they know, why they didn't leak it, maybe just providing like a real explanation for the public, they went ahead and started an investigation into who may have leaked the audio. And then they told CBS, so there was this girl, Ashley Bianco, this like young producer, I think she's like 25 or 26. She used to work at ABC, and then recently she went to work at CBS News, and they told CBS that she might have been the one, and CBS fires her. And she wasn't the one, and she even went on Megyn Kelly's interview saying I wasn't the leaker, and they still fired her. And they still won't, she's not the leaker. Project Veritas, James O'Keefe admitted it. They, everybody knows, and they haven't hired her back as far as I know. And the whole thing is just crazy just because they're wanting to save face. And it's so ridiculous. And according to one of the comments here, Diacritical, apparently they're still sitting on the Epstein story. They still haven't released what they know about Jeffrey Epstein, and she's 25, yeah, they're still sitting on the Jeffrey Epstein story, which is crazy. Oh my gosh, my neck. I'm like a 26-year-old old person. I'm a 26-year-old old person. My neck really hurts. Not only can't I do a handstand, but now I can't move my entire body. See, when the media is so like, ugh. When the media is so just like obsessive over like what people think and what people know and whatever, and not just the media, like, you know, political groups, political campaigns, politicians, whatever, that's when conspiracy theories start. I mean, you know, I'm not saying that they're theories, sometimes, you know, things are true or whatever, but like that's when people start to speculate, because when you're not fully transparent, people start to come up to their own conclusions. Someone is asking if I did a headstand. I didn't. I tried. I was supposed to. I kind of did, but I mostly just ended up hurting myself. Okay. Filthy is a user on YouTube, and Filthy has donated a super chat. Thank you, Filthy, with the comment, "My butt makes noises." Thank you very much for your very insightful super chat. I will always be I will forever be indebted to your insight. Okay. And then, of course, there's always like, oh, anytime we don't trust anybody, they probably work for the CIA. I hear that so many times. Like, I've heard that so many times. This person works for the CIA, that person works for the CIA. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's too much. I've been accused of working in the CIA so many times. Someone is asking what I think about Nick Fuentes. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't agree with like 90% of what I've heard from Nick. I don't agree with like 90% of it. But I still think he's a very smart kid. I think that meaning, this is what I mean. I don't agree with his ideology. Probably, like, I don't agree with any of his ideology, actually, now that I think about it. I don't agree with any of his ideology. But I think he's a very smart kid, and if you are having a conversation with him that is not, you know, ideology aside, he's very smart, and he's very realistic. Like, he can have a conversation, he's I don't know what the word for it is. Common sense. He can like communicate and bring like he can bring a like, you know, a reason for why he thinks this or why he thinks that. And again, like, I'm not condoning anything he's saying, and I actually don't agree with probably any of his ideology at all. And, you know, for Israel, for example, I'm very pro-Israel, and you know, I used to live in Israel, and, you know, my family lives in Israel. But it doesn't mean that I don't think he's a bad person, and I actually, as a person, I think, you know, I've had really pretty good interactions with him. He's, you know, he has manners, he has, you know, there is a word that I wanted to use to describe him. He's like, you know, he's very, I forgot the word, honestly. Um, yeah, I forgot the word. So anyway, that's what I think. I honestly don't see people as their opinions, whatever. I see people as the way that they treat people in their personal lives. I honestly, that matters to me more than anything. The way that you treat people in your personal life, because your opinions will change around a lot. One day you might hate Israel, the next day you might love Israel, one day you might like hate the Nats, another day you might love, hate the Yankees or whatever. Like, people's opinions change all the time, and at the root of it, you always have to look at people as human beings, look at who they are, how they interact with you, because oftentimes, like it's such a surface level thing, in your day-to-day life. How relevant is politics when it comes to just basic communication with, your child, the way that you talk to your child? How much does it matter? Like, and people will try to make it like that, like they'll try to infuse politics into like every aspect of their personal life, but I don't know. I don't see it that way. Politics is not every aspect of my personal life. Can you be like a human being and always be exploring, always be asking questions? Be open to talking to people. You know what I mean? Be open to asking questions. I think that that's the most important thing, is always be exploring and asking questions. I wish more people would do that, and I wish people would, yeah, I don't know. Someone says I should interview, Ashley. Yes, Joe. I definitely am actually going to be having Ashley on sometime later this week. Prodigal says, I see fascists trying to infiltrate the libertarian movement. All right. Yeah. I don't know. You'll see me say like a lot of the same stuff in my live streams, and it's like, whatever. How I feel about this stuff. It really, politics is really not everything to me. I just like to talk about it, but it's I'm not gonna communicate with people based on their politics. I'm certainly not gonna be friends with people based on their politics, and I definitely don't want that to be my future. Like, I don't even know if I plan to ever, teach my kids about politics in any certain way, because I just don't want that in my future. I think it's a very toxic future. And my parents raised us that way, and I'm very grateful to my parents for doing that. My parents left. They escaped their former country, their host country. They escaped the Islamic Revolution of Iran, like right after the revolution happened. And to them, politics is toxic, and they are afraid of having anything to do with it, because it's just bad. It's not exciting. It's not like this fun, let's talk politics. It's like, let's get killed. And I mean, it wasn't that we couldn't, it was just, it wasn't an important thing in our household growing up at all. And I'm very grateful that I grew up like that, because I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid that people are raising their kids to worry about things that are determined by such a small group of people that aren't even real. ideas that are ideas that are ideas that are put together by a small group of people in Washington that don't even reflect. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, and yes, people are asking. Yes, my parents are from Iran, Iranian. Um, how my parents' view of politics affects me. Alex says most interested in raising intelligent children that can make up their own mind. Yes, same. I mean, honestly, if you were to put on politics blind glasses and you were to have a conversation with people, like, there's so much similarities that you'd find with people that you would never have guessed before. You'd find so much in common with different people, and that's why I think that politics is toxic, because it's a lot of it is just labels. A lot of it is just tribalism. It's just like, oh, I'm on this team, you're on that team. But when you really, really come down to like the details of things, the details of like how you live your life and your core beliefs that you live your life by, they're actually very similar. And you're just fighting because of tribalism. And it's stupid. I think tribalism is stupid. And it's fine if you're like tribal, and I don't think that, tribalism needs to be diminished from the earth. I don't care, but that's what it is, and I think it's stupid. And I don't want to base my entire life around that. I don't want to base my entire life on, worrying about being guilty that I talked to this person or that person. And I am always worried about that, so that's why I'm, you saw it in my video. You saw it in my video that I made like last week. My vlog? Yes, I put out a vlog last week, and it was I talked about going nomad, wanting to become a nomad for a while, and it's one of the reasons is like I want to expand my world to outside of DC, so that I'm less worried about what a small group of people thinks, and I am just in my mind. I'm not bound to that. Prodigal says I should try StreamYard. What's StreamYard? Let's see what StreamYard is. Oh gosh, I wish I put on makeup. I really yeah, anyways. StreamYard. Oh wow. It's like a show thing. This looks great. The easiest way to create professional live streams. Great. Wow, I like this. Okay, I'm gonna look it up. StreamYards. That's cool. Someone says I need to interview Milo. Honestly, I don't know. There isn't anything that I am interested in asking Milo. The only reason that I would interview Milo would be to get like more viewers on my live stream, but I don't have like any questions that I want to ask him, like that I want him to talk about. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't think he has any. I don't think he would be saying anything that I don't already know about him, or like I don't feel like, I don't know. I just don't feel like having him on. not that I like, oh no, I don't want to be associated with him. I don't know. I feel like it would just be a little bit redundant. Jesus says I should interview an Orthodox Jew that likes Trump. That's, I don't think I've had any Orthodox Jews on my live stream, and I want to. I did. I had Mike Morrison, but I didn't have like an intimate live stream with just me and someone else, and I definitely want to do that. And I was talking to someone he's a GOP chair in Brooklyn, and he's an Orthodox Jew, and he's going to be here. Sorry, I'm getting a little paranoid. He's going to be here, so I'm going to see if I can get him on this live stream. That would be pretty cool. Lila is Orthodox. Yes, thank you, Diacritical. Lila is Orthodox. I forgot. Lila is Orthodox. Orthobros. Is there actually some... Oh, Dave Rubin. Someone says Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin almost had me on his show. But not... I haven't had Dave Rubin. Okay. Alright. Interview Joe Rogan. Okay, everybody wants Lila to come back. 1 second. I'm gonna message Lila right now and tell her, Lila, everybody wants you to come back. Okay, I messaged her. The prodigal says Crowder. Guys, I don't know if these people would come on my live stream. Ask them. If you just bombard them with tweets being like, have Pardes come on your live stream. Go on Pardes live stream. Someone is saying, oh, Joe is asking what I'm drinking and what my favorite ice cream is. My favorite ice cream? I don't know, I like vanilla. I like tart. What is it? Vanilla tart. I like vanilla tart. And I'm having, what is it? Is it tart? French tart? You know, the white one? And, this is green apple cider. Jesus says, let's bombard Ruben and Crowder to have Pardes on. I definitely agree. I definitely support that. Very much. It's sweet. I think it's sweet. It's very light. It's not really it's just a little bit of alcohol. It's not a lot. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments? The future is social media, the future is independent media, and the future is not trad media. And trad media's dumpster fire is going down. They're losing business to independent media outlets, and they're trying really, really, really hard to try to take everyone down with them as much as possible on their way down. They're going to continue to partner with YouTube and to partner with other social media outlets to try and wage war on the little guys, and to try and squash as many independent journalists as they can. But they will eventually die down, and they will eventually die out. Matt is says I should talk about being a stripper nomad. I'm Well, I guess I will be learning to pole dance, but that's not to be a stripper. That's like a sport. But yes, I will be a nomad. Go to my YouTube page and watch my video about me becoming a nomad, and it's true, it's real. I'm not making it up, and yes, I just bunch of life changes, and it's gonna be cool. But definitely go ahead and watch it. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you tomorrow night. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Okay. Yes, someone's asking if I'm Jewish. Someone's saying like my ancestors. Jews are a historically nomadic tribe. Yes, Jews are historically nomadic tribe. So I am officially a nomadic Jew. Yes. Okay. All right. See you all tomorrow night. Well, good night.